So let's get to First Maccabee chapter 8 verse 1. First Maccabee chapter 8 verse 1. Let's understand the Gentile, the Romans, their system of governance that we have inherited today, called democracy. This is what the whole earth function under democracy, right? By this voting system. If they don't do it, they are so confused, they don't know what to do. If they don't follow democracy, what other way would they use to govern themselves? Democracy is the Romans' way of governance that we have inherited. Let me show you that in the Bible. First Maccabee chapter 8 verse 1. Now Judas has heard of the Romans. Understand Romans. Rome is the capital of Italy. The Romans are who? Colonial masters. Now Judas has heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as will lovingly accept all that join themselves unto them, and make a league of enmity with all that came unto them. Verse 2, and that they were men of great value. It was told him also of their wars, noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute. So the Romans, this is what they did back then. The same Romans today, they have just changed their name today. They are called the European today. The same Romans back then, the same people today. They just changed their name. The Roman Empire failed and they came back as European Christianity. This is them today, right? When you read their history back then, you see that today they are still doing the same thing. Now, let's continue reading verse 3. And what they had done in the country of Spain for winning of the mines of silver and gold which is there. Verse 4. And that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the places. Now, you take for United States, for example. Are they not doing the same thing? Go around conquering nation, their patience and policy. They conquered everybody. Go to Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, conquering nation, taking their resources. Is it not the same thing? The same thing. Now you say, and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the places, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them and giving them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. So when they conquer these nations, the nations are giving them tribute, meaning taxes every year. Imagine some nation like today, what are we doing? All the 14 French-speaking countries are paying taxes to France. The same thing. All our nations are paying taxes to them. The same thing today. Now, verse 5, beside this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of Settim, with others that lifted up themselves against them and had overcome them. Verse 6, how also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariot and a very great army, was discomfited by them, and how they took him alive and covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay a great tribute and give hostage, and that which was agreed upon. Now, let's jump to verse 11. Now, verse 11 is the point. Listen, verse 11 to 16. Verse 11, listen carefully. It was told him beside how they destroy and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and Israel, that at any time resisted them. Okay, these people, they resisted them before, but now they conquered them and brought them under tribute, make them to pay taxes to them. Now, verse 12. But with their friends as such as rely upon them, they kept enmity, and that they had conquered kingdom both far and near, insomuch as all that heard of their names were afraid of them. Anybody that hear about United States is afraid, right? The same thing today. Verse 13. Also that whom they will help to a kingdom, they reign, and whom they will, they displace. Finally, that they were agreed exalted. Listen verse 13 again. It says, also that whom they would help to a kingdom, they reign, and whom they will, they displace. What is it saying? If your leader doesn't agree with your policy, they use coup d'etat and kick him out and replace him with a puppet. That's why African leaders are all puppet today. Because of this. This is what they were doing back then, they are still doing today. Verse 13 again, it says, also that whom they will help to a kingdom, they reign, and whom they displace. Finally, that they greatly exalted. Verse 14, yet for all this, now let's jump to verse 15. Verse 15 is the main point, 15 and 16. This is where democracy came in. Verse 15 and 16, moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, where their 120 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end they might be well ordered. Verse 16, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one man, and that there were neither envy nor emulation among them. See? So this is where democracy comes. This one man today is called president, right? They elect this man every year. One man they elect every year to rule over their whole kingdom. Every year they election. This system of governance is called democracy. This is where democracy came from. But before this system, we were dealing with kings. A king will be there forever. When the king died, his son took over. But remember, the Lord said, any king we have, he will be the one to give us a king. Not voting. He will be the one to choose King Saul, King David, King Solomon. The Lord was the one choosing them. Not they go and vote. How can somebody go and assassinate the current president and then become a president? Now a murderer is ruling, and you expect that country to be at peace? No.